part 2 of the SEO series kicked off today. If you joined us for part 1 last week, welcome back. Or I guess it was 2 weeks ago. Welcome back. And if not, today is your first SEO webinar with the Photo Life, then you're all in for a great lesson in SEO. So my
I
name
hope.
is Katie Van, yeah. My name is Katie Van Buren, and I'm a trainer at Pictage. And our speaker today, you can see him in the little bottom corner of the screen there. Our speaker today is Craig Cochran, who is Pictage's Senior Director of Marketing. And Craig has an extensive background in SEO. He's advised clients in various arenas about SEO while working at the search agency in Santa Monica. And then he's also served as an in-house SEO for several other internet companies. So we're honored to have Craig as a part of the Pictage team, but more importantly to have him presenting today to all of you. So without further ado, Craig, I'm going to pass over the reins to you.
Hello. Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. As Katie said, I used to do SEO all the time, all day long. So I really like doing these webinars. It makes me, keeps me up to date. I love talking about it. So today we're going to talk about Flash websites. And one of the things I realized when I came to work at Pictage, and I had never really worked in the photography world before, was that everyone has Flash websites. And so I thought this would be a great webinar just to explain what that means for your SEO and some of the things you should be aware of and some of the workarounds you might want to do depending on, you know, how important SEO is for your site. So let's get started. Part 1 is here on the Pictage blog. If you haven't seen it, it's a good framework for SEO. It's about relevance versus authority, and I'll reference it and do a little review in the slides coming up. But you should really watch that one, and you'll get more out of this webinar. So a little review. What is SEO? So Google and Bing, and just to review, those are really the two search engines you want to worry about, and they're pretty much the same in terms of how they rank and show results. So if you optimize your site for Google, you're pretty much optimizing it for Bing. So when I say Google throughout this whole presentation, I mean both. So what they aim to do is to understand two things about your site: what it's about and how important each page is. And so SEO is just the practice of sending those two signals as clearly as you can. Then we have spiders crawling the web. So this is, I just want to review quickly how the search engines come to find your site and try and understand what your pages are. They send out spiders that scour the web, every page on the internet. Then they report back what they find to Google, and it saves a cache copy, of which I'll show you. And then Google applies all of its algorithms to what the spiders have reported, and it makes determinations about how important the page is and what the page is about. And then it knows when to show the page when people are searching for different things. So in a nutshell, great SEO makes your site an open book. There should be no mystery about any of your pages, or no confusion. Your first signal, the one half of SEO is relevant. I am relevant for these types of phrases. This page is relevant for these types of searches. And you send those signals through different on-page factors. And these are a few. This is a search result in Google. And you can see this is your title tag. This is your meta description tag. This is your domain name, and if you have keywords in them, you're sending signals to the search engines about that page. And these are the major ways to send the signals on the page. Your title tag, which is this, in your URL, especially in the domain, which is the part before the .com, and then in your page content, which isn't shown here, but it's very important. It's the words on the page that people read. The spiders and the search engines read that same text, the same thing that people read, and they make a lot of conclusions about the page from that. And then your heading tags, H1s and H2s. If you want to read more in depth, you can go to this link And I talk more about this in the SEO Basics Part 1 webinar. So I'm not going to spend much time on that. Another review slide. Each page has a focus. So each page, like for example, this photographer has a page specifically about family portraits, and as you can see, Google chose to show this page first because it's more precise. It's a more precise result given that the person was searching for this phrase. It shows this, but it's not as preferable, and it's further down in the search results. This was a good little example of that. So every page on your site is sending signals, and Google is always looking to show the best page on your site. So now that was review, and then you can learn more about that in the other webinar. Let's get into Flash. So spiders can see HTML the best. They can't see Flash. They're just not built to do it. I'll talk a little bit later about what some changes and improvements, but basically they still really can't see. They really can't use Flash that well. So let's take a look. I'll show you this in action. Suppose we do the site search. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but if you do site : no space, and then a domain, you could do www dot or without. Google will show you results only from this website. So it will show you all of the pages it knows about. You can do this for your own site, and you can instantly see how many pages Google has crawled and has discovered on your site. So for the Youngrens, it's discovered about a little less than 2,000 pages. It's discovering things quickly. It discovered new content 21 minutes prior to when I did this search, and that was a search. That was an update that Erin had just done that morning, like a few hours or an hour earlier. So Google is crawling the Youngren site all the time, and Google has recently made improvements where it's crawling much more often. Now, oops, didn't mean to do that. So this, you can also see from these URLs that they're kind of normal looking URLs, and that's always good to know. If you start seeing a lot of question marks, equals, and little pound characters, you probably won't see pound characters, but if you start seeing unusual URLs, it's a good thing to know. You basically want to see clean, short URLs that make sense. So now we can look at the text-only cache copy. We can see what Google has saved and basically what it saw. So I'm going to switch over to a browser and actually do this live. So if we just search for the Youngrens, if we hover over this, click on cached. Wait. Actually, I'm going to do their blog. All right, I'm going to hover over there. Now I pulled up their blog page because I want to show you what a blog looks like. Cached, then text only. So this is what you get. And as you can see, this is full of words. There are a lot of important words on here: San Diego, engagement, Coronado, San Diego, Coronado. And then down here, actually, there are comments, pictures. Someone's probably going to say images. So this is really giving the search engines a lot to work with. It's an open book. They can just read it, and they can tell exactly what this page is about. So this is an example of a really clear page that's sending clear signals about relevance. So let's go back to this. So I'm just kind of circling what I just told you, pointing out the great words that are found. So let's look at how Google sees Flash sites. And I just randomly picked these sites. They're all from all around the country. I don't know any of these photographers. So first let's do this site, Capiero Photographers. So this is what it looks like to us in Flash. I'm actually going to pull up the page in search results. As you can see, this gives you the first clue that it's not quite sending a clear signal. You really want text like, we are a photographer based in so and so, and we love to shoot weddings and blah blah blah. So let's hover on this, cached. This is what Google is seeing, just a blank square. So that's an example of a flashlit site that is completely invisible to the search engines. Let's do the next one, which is pristine memories. I'm just going to rip through these. Pristine memories. So they have some good text there. That's a good sign. Cached. Text only. Flash Player 6 is required to view this site. That is this page is sending that signal that this site is all about Flash Player 6, which isn't really true. Same thing for this, gendronphoto.com. I won't show you that one. But this one, Nancy AD, is a little bit different. Let me do that one. So this is the Flash site. Here's the text only, and there's actual text underneath her Flash site that's identical to the text that you would read in Flash. So when search engines come here, they actually do see a little bit of context. They have a little bit to work with. And these are 3 links here, and so the spiders follow these links. This is how they crawl the web. They just go from link to link to link. So they'll follow this link, and they will get to a Flash site again. So you know what? I'm going to look at this page. In Google, and I want to see what it looks like. Text-only version is blank. So Google will know about this URL because it followed a link here, but when the spiders get to it, it's a blank page. So this is I would interpret this as Nancy or whoever's doing her website attempting to create an HTML-friendly page because the page exists, but they didn't follow through because it's a blank page. So a little bit more, there's another step that needs to be done basically for Nancy's site. But I want to focus the rest of the presentation on bradwaltersphoto.com. Brad does something that is really interesting that a lot of people do. So let's take a look. First, let's take a look at what it looks like. So this is what his site actually looks like in Flash. This is the cache copy. See this text? Can't really see it unless I highlight it. Click here to view the HTML version of this website. So this means that Brad has created what's called an HTML mirror site. It's a site that exists in parallel to his Flash site, and the purpose of it is to give the search engine something that they can actually read and understand. And that sounds great on paper, but let's see exactly what happens. If we were to click on this, we would come to this page, which is website.html, and it looks like an HTML page. It's viewable. But if we were to click on, say, his bio, we get redirected back to the Flash site. Watch this area. Keep your eye on this area when I click. You'll see another URL briefly flash in there, or briefly appear in there. Watch. It was bio something. So what's happening is we're trying to go to that other HTML page, but the web server is saying, oh, you can read Flash. I'm going to give you the Flash page, and it redirects us back to the Flash page. So really, we can't see his HTML site unless we pretend to be a spider, which we can do. So let me get caught up with the slides. What I'm going to do, you can do it too if you're an adventurous soul, or you can just take my word for just watch me do it. In Firefox, there's a plugin called Web Developer for Firefox. You can just find it in Google. And it lets you just follow this menu path. You want to disable your JavaScript. If you don't know what this means, don't worry. It just basically means that we're going to turn off Flash, and we're going to see the web like spiders see them, because they don't have Flash either. So when we go to these pages, the web server is going to say, you do not have Flash. I'm just going to show you the HTML version of the site. So let's see what happens with Brad. So let me go to Firefox. I'm going to turn off my JavaScript, and I'm going to go to his site. And we get, so now I'm in my regular browser, my browser without Flash, and I get his non-Flash landing page. I'm going to click the HTML site, and it lets me go here. We were able to do that before, but when I click on bio, it's going to keep us on the HTML site. So now we can see that bio page that flashed briefly, and we can actually click through to everything. So it looks like, see all of this, Brad has all of these HTML pages based for New York, Antigua, Aruba, Bahamas, Barbados. And he has all this content on these pages that is optimized for these phrases. Barbados appears several times, and it's actually in the title tag here, Barbados Wedding Photographers. And if you watch the previous webinar, you'll see what I mean by the title tag if you don't know what that means. And he's gone to great lengths to create an HTML page that is optimized for a whole bunch of different terms that he would like to rank for. So if you think about relevance and authority, he's sending relevance signals for this page. But as I'll show you in a second, there is zero authority on these pages. So these are just screenshots of what we just saw. So he has good relevance, but zero authority. So let's see. What happens is that those pages are found by the spiders because they crawl his HTML mirror site. They discover the pages. They know about them. They put them in the search results, but they put them in the back of the search results because there's no authority. So for example, I searched for Bahamas wedding photographer, and I found Brad's HTML page, but it's on the 14th. This is actually on the 15th page. It's result number 142. I have a little tool that gives me the number of the result. So Brad has done kind of half the work of SEO, which is relevance, but there is no authority. And so if you watch the previous webinar, you'll know that authority is all about building links to the pages to give them authority. Because no human being will ever see this HTML page, no one will ever know it exists, and so no one will ever link to it. No other webmaster would or blogger would link to this page, and so it's kind of cut off from ever having any authority naturally. So mirror sites, one of the things I wanted to get across was when when a web hosting company offers to sell you an SEO friendly, I need you to see me, an SEO friendly version of your Flash website, it's kind of half true because you do have pages that can be crawled and they're sending relevance signals, but it's kind of not friendly because no one will ever see the pages and you're not going to get any authority to the pages, and they're always going to be stuck in the results where no one can see them. So what can you do if you're in the situation? Basically, you can skip Flash and stick to HTML, especially HTML5, which now can recreate all of the visually interesting things you can do in Flash, but is still, spiders can see HTML5, and they can understand what each page is about. But that's obviously easier said than done if you already have a Flash site that you've paid a lot of money for. Solution 2, you can, and Brad might want to do this, build links with great anchor text to those HTML pages. He, could do directory listings and all kinds of creative things that were covered in the other webinar, Relevance versus Authority. He could do a lot of link building to those HTML pages and try to get them to rank, but they're never going to naturally attract any links, and the jury is still out a little bit, because even if Google showed the HTML page in the search results, as soon as somebody clicks on it, they get redirected to the Flash site. And although that will probably work, there's no guarantee, because Google and Bing like to be as sure as possible about what's going to happen when they send someone to a link. They need to make sure that their results show what the users expect. And it has no way of verifying that when you click on Brad's Bahamas wedding photographer link, it doesn't know what you're being redirected to. It doesn't know that the Flash site you're being redirected to is about the Bahamas because it can't read it. So there's still that question mark. And just to put it in perspective, if all of this stuff is hard to wrap your head around and it's confusing, think about how important it is for your site to be an open book to the search engines. If it's confusing to you, it's a challenge for them as well. And all of your competitors who have regular HTML sites who are also ranking for the same phrases that you want to rank for, they're a little bit more attractive to Google because there is no mystery about what's going to happen, and there's no redirection, and there's none of these issues. So competitively, you're kind of at a disadvantage even with a mirror site because of all of these moving parts under the hood that are going on. So the solution 3 would be to focus on your blog and your Google Place page. Your blog, as we saw with the Youngren's website, is an open book. There's no mystery. There's no redirecting of pages. There's no guessing about what each page is about. Actual people see those pages and will link to that post that Erin made about the Coronado engagement on their own, perhaps without Erin or Jeff having to, do anything about building links. They'll just come naturally, and that page can naturally start ranking for Coronado engagement sessions or something like that on its own. And that's the whole thing with SEO. You want to kind of set yourself up so that it will just happen. So you don't have to spend your time, you don't have to spend a lot of your time doing link building and all kinds of things. Over time, it might just actually happen for you. And then the other solution is your Google Place page. So there's another webinar on that coming up after PartnerCon, which that's probably mid-November. I forget the exact date. But we'll talk about your Google Place page and also local search. So those are the
Okay.
yes.
I don't want to interrupt, but I'm going to for just a minute. We have a couple questions that have come in
Sure.
too, and I didn't know if you saw those, so
No.
let me know if you
Well,
want
that's
me to.
perfect because I'm done. So let's do questions.
Ah, there you go. All right. So we did have a question
Okay.
asking how many links would make it authoritative.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a tool called Open Site Explorer. I'll just go through it quickly, and it's covered in detail in the other webinar. Katie, I'm going to use your site as an example.
Okay.
Your .com is your
.com is my website.
I'm doing this because Katie has a good number of links. This is a tool called Open Site Explorer. I talk more about it, like I said, in the other webinar. And it is a great way to see, and this is a free tool, just create a free account. It's a great way to see your links and everyone else's links. So we can see that 61 websites linked to Katie. These settings are covered in the other domain. They're important to know. Her page authority is 39 out of 100, which is very good. And this is anchor text that's covered in the other webinar. And what would be ideal here would be to see anchor text like Denver wedding photographer, Colorado wedding photographer, and that gives a really powerful signal as well. But to answer the question, you can see who's ranking in the first position or two for a certain phrase, put that URL in here, and see exactly how much authority it has and how many links they have, and that's basically what you need to beat to get ahead of them. You could also get ahead of them with less links, but with better anchor text than they have for that phrase.
Okay, we had another question that came in. Let's see here. It says, I have heard someone say discovery search is growing. What does that mean?
I don't know what that means. I've never heard that phrase, discovery search. For me, discovery search would mean non-brand search. So there's two important, people can search for you. Like I might search for Van Buren photography, but I wouldn't, if I were Katie, I wouldn't really be too interested in that because I'm going to be number one and that person already knows me. Somehow they've heard of me, which is great. But if they're searching for Denver wedding photographer and that's how they discover me, that's even better because that's a new person that didn't know about me. So that's discovery. That's why I think that phrase might mean, discovery search might mean that because someone is discovering your brand through a search that didn't involve your name. But Stephen, we can talk about that later. Maybe I can look it up and see if it means something else.
Okay, and then we did have, and I actually think that we might have covered this, or actually David I think is also addressing it, but that we've had somebody comment that if heard Google can now read Flash, and David was mentioning something about the same thing, so can it really read Flash now?
Yes. So this is what happens. So when I briefly mentioned earlier that Google has made some improvements, so it can read Flash, and I want to show you how you can tell. I'll do this. I'll search for oops, I'll search for, let's just stay in Denver. If I do file, type, shockwave flash, I don't know if I need a dot or not. Nope. So if you do the search, you can tell Google to do the search, but only show you flash sites, flash pages. So you can see that it can read things in the flash. But what happens is it doesn't, your flash site is one file. So your entire site is in one file, and so if we were to visit, okay, so for example, it saw this phrase, thanks again, Jeff and Vanessa Wyatt, married in Denver, Colorado. Let's just go to this page. We're on their home page. We don't know where that phrase showed up. It could be, we don't know if it's in here and here and here, if it's in here, and neither does Google. So if someone were searching on that phrase and Google read it in the flash file, it doesn't know. It only can send them to the home page because there are no interior URLs. So it doesn't even, it wouldn't be showing them what they wanted to see. It would just be showing them the home page of the site. So imagine if you searched for a specific phrase, like kitten jumping out of a box, and Google sent you to a site that was just a picture of a kitten. That's not a good user experience, and Google knows that. So even though it can read Flash, it doesn't know where to send you exactly. So it will not show. It won't show you in the results because it's not a really good. It's not a good user experience. So I guess the bigger point is though, even though Google can read Flash, it still doesn't know what to do with it. It doesn't know how to interpret it. It doesn't know where to send you. It raises all of these issues. So it still really doesn't work for SEO.
Okay, so we had another question that came in. And I noticed when you input the website to check it in Google that you add www to the beginning.
Yes.
And he said, I get very different results for my site when I omit the www versus when I put it in. My business cards don't have that, which I think most people know they don't need to type it when they search for a site. Any thoughts?
Yes, that is a great question. And it's something that, oops.
Yeah, I don't ever type www anymore.
So I'll tell you technically what happens. So let's try, Brad, I'll use your site, Nathan, I'll use your site as a example. I will find you right now. And I'm going to put you on the spot.
Nathan, are you still in Northern California? Let's see if he's...
Is this you?
That should be.
Okay. So let's add the www. So this is without. Let's see what happens if we add it. Okay. So Nathan, this means that you have basically you have two home pages because the search engines see so let me get back there. The search engines see this as technically this is a subdomain. We all know about subdomains, right? You could do blog, you could do, photos.net. www is just a subdomain, but it's a very common subdomain. It's like the most common subdomain. So you have both sites. So what you ideally want to do is redirect. If you prefer that people use this, you take this and you have your webmaster do a 301 redirect from www to the non-www. Or you can do it vice versa. It's whatever you want to do. So that way you don't have two different sites. You have one site, and when all of your links that go to www and all of your links that go to the non-www when you redirect one to the other, all those links get consolidated and all that authority gets consolidated into one site. And to take it a little one step further, let's go into Open Site Explorer and see if there's a difference.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Sure.
While you're doing this too. If you have a website and a blog, but they're different, so I'll use mine, for example, ones.com and ones.net. I'm assuming I'm competing against myself. So can you do a 301 redirect? What is that?
No, I'll show you that. I'll show you why in your case that wouldn't work.
Okay, that's right. You can keep answering Nathan's.
So with the Nathan Smith without the www has links from 2 domains, and it has an authority of 23. With the www, it has basically 1 from this site and a domain of page authority of 7. So what would happen is if you took www and had it 301 redirected to just Nathan Smith, this page authority that's kind of rubbing off on you, or it's actually rubbing off on the www version, would be applied to your nathanphotography.com version. So it's kind of consolidating the authority that you're getting from your links. And that's a really basic thing that everybody should do. Now, the reason that it wouldn't work for Katie is because she has a .com site for her business and a .net site for her blog, but both of those they're not the same. They're both different sites. They have different content, and they have pages underneath them. So if she were to redirect her .net over to her .com, her .net would no longer be viewable. So what she would want to do is kind of move her blog over to the .com site, and once that's done and all the pages are on it, then she would redirect her .net to her .com. So I guess, Katie, the answer was yes, but first you have to make sure you transfer your blog over before you redirect everything so that nothing gets lost.
And then anybody else have any other questions that we haven't addressed yet that have come in?
Let's see.
I haven't seen any, but I want to make sure we give you guys enough time to type. I think Craig's pretty much to the end of his presentation, so.
Yes. Someone's making good points, David Wolf, that in Webmaster Tools you can tell Google that you prefer www or you prefer non-www. That helps, but the fail-safe way is to just redirect it, so there's no question. When you tell Google things in Webmaster Tools, it takes them as suggestions, and some of the things it takes is very serious suggestions that it will follow, but they are suggestions to Google, and it will ultimately make its own decision. So you should do that in Webmaster Tools, but you should also redirect your www and non-www. Let's see.
There's a couple more questions that came in. Can you see?
Sure. Let's see. Oh, the Pictage directory, yes. That is a project that I've been trying to get us to fix, and we have a lot of plans for it, and now that Nimbus is about to launch, that's the next project for that team. So the Pictage directory should soon be giving you a lot of value, especially to your place pages, and it might start ranking itself. Your page might start ranking itself in Google. So stay tuned for that.
And then I think Lynn's asking a question of how long do new links take to show up in Open Site Explorer?
Okay.
So I can tell what I'm doing is working or helping.
So that's a good question. Open Site Explorer has its own spiders, just like Google and Bing have their spiders. And I'm not sure exactly how often they crawl everything. I would say a little bit, it takes them a little bit longer than Google because they're not Google. Um, so I'm not sure. I would say maybe a week. I mean, you should actually do the links or do link building and understand that Google is going to see them first, um, and then Site Explorer will see them a week later too. I'm not sure. There also might be the answer to that in there's probably a FAQ section of Open Site Explorer. I'm sure somebody's asked that before.
All right, I don't see any other questions that have come in, so I think we can wrap up. I think you had a final slide here. And then I also will recap. I can send out an email like I did from the first presentation with some of the links. And also this will be in the Photo Life, so it will be posted online. We'll have the recorded version. And then I can't remember, Craig, did we put up the slides?
Yes, we should have.
Photo Life also?
Pretty sure.
I think so.
We'll check,
Yep.
and if
so
we haven't.
You'll be able to check it all again on the Photo Life, and that will be coming within the week here.
Oh, and I also can't let you guys go without telling you that you need to go to PartnerCon. It's in San Diego, November 7th to 9th, and it's great. So if you can make it, that'd be great. We actually just announced a one-day pass for the boot camp, which will cover Nimbus and ShootQ setup, and there's two other things to choose from. Lightroom with Jared Platt. Yeah, it's going to be really great. So that's my plug for PartnerCon.
Excellent. Well, thanks again, Craig. And for everybody else, our next webinar, I should pull it. Actually, before we let everybody run, let me pull up what time our next webinar is, just so that way we have it up here. So, and I believe.
Let's go to PHub.
Of course, I don't have it on this one. Hold on.
I will show you right now.
I don't have my browser open.
Here's PHub if you want to know what's going on.
Okay. There you go.
With Pictage and the webinars.
Just so we see.
Let's see.
Part
3. 27th.
October 27th. Perfect.
Image SEO.
We'll see you guys all on October 27th.
All right,
everybody. Perfect. Take care. Have a good day.
Thanks.